Good morning, James Chapman.
Good morning, Addison.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
I'm
here in Corbin team world. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's things have changed a little bit. We've had some moving pieces.
Yeah.
Finally come together. We
Yeah.
actually last week we had the entire office come in early Friday morning, and we painted this entire office.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
painted.
awesome.
We redecorated, kind of got things back to how we wanted them, and turned out good.
Made everybody have a little bit of ownership.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. Got some pizza and all the good stuff. So it was yeah, it just kind of gives everybody an opportunity to do something together for the place that you're in.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, I think it breaks up the monotony too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's interesting. Sometimes we have like a special little project, like, hey, I need somebody to stuff 500 envelopes. You know,
Right.
It's amazing. People are like, I'll do it. I'm like, really? Don't you have stuff too? But it lets them break up the day a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so doing something fun like that, it's a good idea.
Yeah, it definitely it added some differentness to the entire day. So
we got a special guest as well. Dooney's not liking something. What's Dooney not?
He wants to ball under the chair.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, Dooney. Yeah. Can't help you there, bud.
Negative. So as far as everything going, how's everything moving on your end?
Really good, man. We're getting the right people in the right seats. The people that shouldn't be on the bus are no longer on the bus. Like we're getting there. I'm actually like things that I plan and working towards are coming to fruition. But I realize though I have several hurdles I'm getting over. But one of the things that a couple of things are going really well. Number one, I'm smoothing things out. I'm also, where's my mindset every day? I'm very focused on my to-do list and like, okay, hey, you're just chipping away at this. You're just making a couple of steps a day. Right? We've talked 100 times. Bendino, it's not your job to know how many steps. It's your job to make the next step, right? And that's what I'm doing. Like, don't overthink it. Stay engaged, stay focused, know what's going on.
Yeah.
But like, don't overthink it. Don't just sit there and analyze it and whine like a little bitch. What can you do today? All right, do that shit.
Yeah.
And then plan for tomorrow. And then on tomorrow, do that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't overcomplicate things that should not be overcomplicated. Save that energy for something else.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you take it to that point, because we have been talking about something similar to that over the past couple of weeks. And there's a reason why it's reoccurring. Is because it is something that can be lost and forgotten and, ignored. And that's something you have to build up. You have to continuously keep your eyes on it and say, okay, I know that if I get too far into the weeds, I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna start analyzing things too much. I'm not gonna get action done. And that's something on my end of things that I've been purposely or subconsciously ignoring certain things. And it didn't come to my attention until I had to let one of our agents go. How much I purposely ignored certain things. And then also in my personal life, ignoring certain things that, my HOA. There's certain things that we've got to do with our HOA. Ignored them. I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And it started to come back around where I was like, dude, why am I ignoring this? Like, just handle it.
Yeah.
And so I handled it, and it was, those moments are freeing, right? When you stop ignoring the things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that fucking stack.
Yep. And start building out that list of things you've got to, building out the list of the things that you need to do, but are ignoring or not doing, or, maybe you're going to delegate it out and whatever it might be. you don't have to, like you said, it's not your job to know what everything has to happen, or not to know everything that needs to happen, but your job is to do the actions that take to get the job done.
Yeah.
And that's also where I am in that little building block of,
Yeah.
it almost feels like you're going back.
Do you know how many miles it is from your office to your home?
Yeah, about 80.
It's 80 miles,
Mhm.
give or take
Yeah.
a few tenths, probably. That's pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
How many red lights? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, but I
Do you
can
know how
think.
many turns off the top of your head?
No.
Okay. Because it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the grand scheme, that's like sitting there over analyzing something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I got 80 miles to go. There's some red lights, there's fucking turns, there's gonna be some traffic, but I gotta go 80 miles. So
Yeah.
like me sitting there and thinking about, you going, damn, there's gonna be some traffic going on.
Mhm.
But you going, man, there's gonna be some traffic. Oh, how many red lights are there? Let me sit there and think about each one. Oh, that one always holds me long. Oh, that one always holds me long. Oh, I always hit that one and never catch that one. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you just need to go get in the fucking truck and you got to drive those 80 miles.
Right.
Right. Like, so that's coming back to the business. Like, if you got to go 80 miles and something in the business, do you really need to count the number of red lights if it's irrelevant?
No.
It's irrelevant.
No.
If it's important, then count it. But if it's not, then don't count it. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same concept. And like, I'm really trying to get out of that habit. But to the to-do list, that's my discipline now. I put it on the to-do list. I do the to-do list.
No.
And that's it. I literally go home. I've been doing that now without question for 3 solid weeks. There's only one day on one thing I didn't check off completely. And it's just because I flat out missed it. And that was my morning workout. And it was like it was gone. It was done. I missed it completely, so I didn't get to check it off. But the other stuff, I get it done. I check it off. There's no discipline to it because there's not thinking to it. It's next on the list, so go do it. It's next on the list, go do it. Is it good enough to put on the list? That's where I think, should I put this on the list? My wife doesn't have to remind me 10 times about something that's You do that. It's like, yeah. Now I just go, yeah, I got it on the list. If I say that, she don't even ask another question.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. And see, I go through these systems of building out the Trello list, building out, spacing everything out, right?
Yeah.
And there are some days where I will just completely not even look at it, right? Going back to the purposely ignoring it for the simple fact of, I know that I'm going to be on the road all day. Like there's no way I'm going to get to that stuff.
Yeah.
And the moment that happens, I'll push it to the next day, and then I'll push it again, and then I'll push it again because there's other activities that I know that I have to complete.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on myself in the sense of not allowing that to happen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good point of like, hey, look at the damn list, go through it, process it, and move on.
Yeah.
And that's something that you do. I feel that you do really well, right? Because we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have put into place to make sure that you are handling the things that you are handling.
Yeah.
And that's something personally that I need to get better with. Because I know the actions that I need to take mentally, but there are things that get missed because they're not.
So let me ask you a question. Did it go from being simple like I have it and you've gotten fancier with it over time? So it's gotten more complicated, so it's harder to manage it all?
I don't think that it's super complicated because it's really not. It's just built out. This is what today is, and this is what you need to process. I think more so on the other end of not necessarily being complicated, but it's just the simple fact of me completely forgetting about the list.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I get so caught up in handling other things, and maybe those things are not as important as the things that are on the list, and I get caught up.
Yeah.
And eventually those things do get done, right? And there's a system and a process, but I think a lot of people fall into that category of not following those checklists, not building out the checklist. Because there's a certain level of action that is required, right? Because you can build the list out and it's not going to do any good. It's just there.
Yeah.
It requires action.
Yeah.
And that can sometimes be a little bit further down the road, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's not necessarily procrastination on my end. I think it's just a simple, and I've processed this thought multiple times.
Yeah, and that's the key too, is I can process, okay, what's making this happen? You know?
And it's this simple, I don't even think about it. And that's my fault for letting it fall out of routine, because there were weeks where it was just like boom, 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 boom. And then I get work busy and I'm driving and not productive. Well, I guess in real estate, you know, you're moving, you're always, you're either on the road or you're not.
Yeah.
And the days that I'm not, the list is easy.
Yeah.
The moment that I get momentum from doing everything on that list, I can sometimes get distracted.
I feel you. So that's the interesting thing. Most of my work, where I'm most effective, is in the office.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not me just personally. I'm talking about the work I do. Like I need to be in the office. Like I need to be plugged in at the desk, computers up. So I use Trello. We've talked about that. So my Trello board is up. If I did this on a sheet of paper, this would not be effective.
Right.
That thing stays up all day staring at me, working, going back, touching. Like it's there on this monitor. It's there every day on this monitor. And I also use it on my phone. Yep. So I'm pretty good about pulling up the app to add items for like the next day if I think of something, right? So to that, I guess my thing is it's a simple process, right? Keep it simple. So you're saying the issue is when you're on the road, is it because you're busy on the road or is it because it's just nowhere in sight?
Both. But I say both. As a company, we use Trello to keep things in order. And so I have that list open. I have currently what's processing, what needs my attention, that type of thing is always open. On the other end of it, I've got my own personal list, and that usually is the one that falls to the wayside.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm using really only unless like big projects. I got boards built for big projects. So if we buy an agency, all the stuff I need to do, just my checklist keeps me organized. I can notate and update, and then I just have the simplistic daily to-do list. You know, though looking back, I mean, you remember it's probably been 5 years ago, but when we bought I think you bought one as well. It was Andy Frisella, MFCEO book, where it had the five items. You write down 5 items a day. But my problem with that is that, you know, the book would sit on the corner of the desk. I didn't literally that thing wasn't with me. Yeah. You know, and it was like, okay, well, I bought it because it was cool and I used it some and it worked a little bit, but it wasn't something I could just commit to daily. I think you got to have something. Some people, it's going to be the legal pad, flat out. Yeah. Some people, it's going to be an app only on their phone. Some is going to be some, you know, whatever the case may be. Some it might be freaking sticky notes. Yeah. So I did a thing recently on my whiteboard where I wrote out some stuff and then I put all the pieces to it and individual sticky notes under that. Jesus, so I can move it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like so it was just something kind of like I could put my hands on and like stare and look at. Lasted about 2 days. I was like, I'm not even looking at this. Yeah. You know, 2 days I touched it and then a week went by and I was like, gone. So I literally integrated that into my Trello board. I was like, I'm doing well here. Fuck this. Gone. Get rid of it. Integrate it in. It's not helping me whatsoever. Yeah. So, you know, it's like sticky notes too. Ever so often I'll put a sticky note down. But I used to have a time where I put a sticky note for reminders on things. What happens with sticky notes? After a day, you don't even see them anymore. Yeah, they're just mentally. You literally just block them out. I mean, you could put one on my computer, and then it's just gone. Yeah. So you know, if you got those kind of things, you can't do that. It's like living with overdue tasks or to-do items. You get used to seeing stuff overdue. Doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. There's no urgency there. If everything in your life is urgent, nothing is urgent. Right. You know, it's like you got to think through that and how you think through stuff. And I'm trying to spend a ton of time and it's busting my balls trying to do this.
Yeah.
But like I'm really dialing in on it. And every time I look at it, it's not adding more. It's pushing away the bullshit and getting rid of clutter and like making it as simplistic as possible.
Yeah. And that's so important, because a lot of what happens in business is, specifically for real estate agents, is because I'm in that realm,
Mhm.
is you get caught up in, you do all this work, right? And this is what causes real estate agents to have the up and downs, or sales in general, for that, is you do all the work to get up the hill starts rolling, and you stop doing the work that got you there, and you fall back down. You get back on the horse, and it falls back down. And that's why people have lulls in their business, if you're in sales, right? Is because of that, right? And something that you've got to figure out as someone who is in the sales realm, you've got to figure out what is that key. Or if you are a business owner, what is the key to the door that opens up process, right? Because that's where everything is done, is in the process, in the system.
Yep.
And mentally, for me, I know the things that I have to do, so I work on those. But it's the little things that I lose.
Yeah.
Right. Which may be the weeding out of the shit.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to delegate a little bit more than I do. But that's another interesting thought.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm completely with you on all that. And, it's sales. I mean, definitely sales in general. I mean, you bust your ass, you work hard, it churns a ton of opportunity for you. You fill up the pipeline, and then it throws you off what you were doing, right? It's easy to stay productive when you have no customers or deals in the pipeline.
That's right.
Nothing else to work on.
That's right.
So take advantage of it. But like that's what I keep trying to tell the agents who work for me. Like you have, once again, you got to do before you can be. So you need to think about it. Like, okay, well, you only got a couple deals right now, and you're just relying on your memory. That's stupid.
No.
Don't rely on your memory. Rely on the system. This is the best time to follow the process, because you got time to focus on it. Make it, because it's tougher to make it a habit. So right now, while you're not crazy, make it a habit. Right. So when you are crazy, you're super, super efficient. And like, if somebody fights that, like, I'm also getting more stern about it, because I have no sympathy. Yeah. I've spent a ton of money and a ton of time trying to create something that flows for you.
Yeah.
You got no excuse. I remember when everything either had to be done, it was pretty much done by phone or in person. Yeah, of course we used the email, but people didn't, it wasn't like they rely now. Yeah. Like, I mean, most customers came in. Why did they come in? Because I had to get them to sign an app. So, they were I was either gonna have to mail them a copy with a return envelope, or they were gonna have to come in and schedule an appointment. So like, things moved so much slower and didn't have near the technology to back you. And we still got it done, and we still work to be efficient. So like, don't give me those excuses. You got time. Yeah. You're just lazy. Yeah. And you refuse to build a process. Follow the process. And then I've also realized, and this goes out to anybody who's been doing it a while and trying to build a team and trying to stay connected on the same level. Right. I like to be in the ditch with everybody. I like to be down in the dirt. So I like to look at people, my colleagues. They are, man, they're part of my team. I just happen to lead it, right? But if you are the expert, which if it's your company, we're going to assume you're the expert on it. Stay humble in that, but at the same time, like, you got to remind them, hey, this is my company, my system, my process, and I'm a result of that. Yeah. If it's made millions, then, like, that's some confirmation that you've done it and you put together right. Can it get better? Of course. but they need to bust their ass on doing that and giving ideas how to make it better. Not just go, it didn't really work for me. I struggle with that. Man, shit, I struggle with a lot of things. I used to struggle with paying my fucking bills. I don't need for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so something to that as a leader and as someone who owns a company and someone who has been continuously trying to be better in that thought process of leading and doing the research that goes along with that. I've gotten to the point of myself of understanding that I personally am too understanding of people's situations.
100%. I'm right there with you on that, man.
And that can be, again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, ignoring the situations or ignoring the problems that are happening because you are overly understanding of other people's problems.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, going back to these are the systems, these are the processes that I took that I was able to get to where I am currently. And there's a reason why you are here.
Yeah.
And for you to put these in place without any excuse will get you a result of similar proportion.
Yeah.
And understanding that people have hard things, they are going through their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, everybody has shit.
Everybody.
And it's up to you as a human being to be able to own it and handle it. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm now getting to that point in my career of understanding, like, there is no, like, I'm done with the complete ignoring problems because of understanding.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. And now you either get on board or you don't. And if you don't get on board, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I want you to succeed. And the only way that I know how to do that is by following this process.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Agree completely. I mean, if you're not digging in to figure out how to continue to stay true to it, you know, I mean, what's the option? I think that's what happens to a lot of people, though. Then you just kind of grow complacent, you know, and the company doesn't do as well as it used to, but it's okay. You know, you worked hard.
Yeah.
You deserve to take it easy, right? Like, even you tell yourself you deserve to take it easy, even if you right now shouldn't take it easy.
No.
But man, I see it because I know you probably follow like some Facebook pages as real estate agents, right? You probably pick up a lot of cool stuff, man. There are people out there that blow me away. Yeah. Light years ahead of me. So it keeps me humble in the thought of all the things I can do better. There's also people, though, you know, it's like, hey, you know, I was doing this, working well, but like you can see they're trying to find the easy button. What's a lead company y'all recommend or whatever, right? Like, and it's obvious as day, like you said, something's working well and then it paid off for you. And now you don't want to have to rinse and repeat.
That's right.
So you're trying to find an easy button. Well, like, be thankful that there's not an easy button. Figure out how to make it easier for you, you know, like in that process. But most people are going to quit because there's not an easy button. So good.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, that's why it always baffles me when people talk about the bigger the company gets. So there's less competition. All the competition's at the bottom, at the first rung. You know, that always seemed odd to me. But that's where the hardest competition's at, because everybody wants to do this, and then there's this bar of entry because of the effort you got to put in to get above that, and it's difficult to do.
Yeah. And
so most people will stay there. They'll hit that ceiling and stop, you know, and that's where they're all going to fight and trample over each other. It's true. Yeah. It really is. It blows my mind. I would have never thought that.
Yeah. It's that's an interesting point. I want to tell you this because it goes to the last thing that we just spoke, and I didn't have time to bring it up.
Rattling.
You were rattling.
I'm rattling.
So with that being said, something I posted the other day is being held accountable may feel like an attack if you are not ready to acknowledge your own poor decisions and how they impact others.
That's good.
And that to me was, it's funny how you see things and you're like, holy shit. This is where I am. This is the moment of where everything is kind of coming together. And we've talked about it in the past of when you hold someone accountable to what they said or what the standard is, it can be uncomfortable. But if any deviation from that is actually a downfall for the person that you're trying to hold accountable, or the team member, or the, you know, colleague, or whatever it may be, any deviation from not holding that person accountable is problematic. You may say, well, I'm trying to be understanding, I'm trying to walk them through this and be gentle, when in all actuality, you're not helping anybody, and you're not helping yourself, you're not helping the company, you're not helping the person you're trying to help.
Yeah.
If you actually care about those people, you will hold them accountable to what is actually happening.
I agree completely. I mean, the people I respect the most in my life that were trying to get me to a better level, they did one of two things. If I wasn't performing as best I could, they gave me 0 of their time.
Yeah.
And it was obvious. They didn't ever say a fucking word to me. They never griped at me, anything. I just got none of their fucking time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the respect. Right?
Yeah.
And then when I got the respect, it was obvious. Second person was a person, which was even better, was a person who would take me time and tell me the fucking truth. And that meant a lot.
Yeah.
Good or bad. You know? So but you know, one last thing I'll say to that. If you're behind on stuff, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hell, if we're doing things right, we should get behind on stuff because we're cranking so much fucking business and growing. We're trying to keep up with the boom.
Yeah.
Good. Like, I want people so slammed they don't know what to do in a moment. But here's the difference. If I'm behind, I know exactly how much I am behind. And I'm okay with that. Like, okay, all right, I'm supposed to be here, but it's obvious I can look at it and see I'm here.
Yeah.
That's being smart. What's not smart is when you just ignore everything and you have no idea how far you are behind. Because I could walk in and be like, hey, man, looks like your shit's behind. Yeah, it is. It's big time behind. Here's where I should be. Here's where I'm at right now. And here's my plan. And I don't know when it'll get done. You know what I go? Damn, what do you need from me?
Yeah. What support?
What support do you need from me? On the other hand, when I say, hey, you look all fucked up, they're like, huh? Then I'm like, God damn, I don't have a professional working with me right now. I don't even have somebody that's clued in on how far they are. They're just shoving shit in the closet.
Yeah.
And they don't even have inventory of what's in there. All right, now I'm worried about me, not you. Now I'm worried about my clients, not you. Now I want to know how I can get your ass. I got to spend more time focused on you than how I can fucking help you.
Yeah.
Like, folks, it's not rocket science, man.
And it's not. And it, by you allowing that in your sphere, it will become a distraction for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that happens, you are not running at full optimum percentage. And when that's not happening, the company takes a hit, which then everybody inside that realm takes a hit.
Yeah.
When you're trying to bring this person up to speed or trying to bring them to where they need to be, you are spending way too much time and effort there versus with the team that actually is ready to run.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that I'm seeing it now, because we could have done so much more business the last 2 years, and we weren't, because I was so distracted on trying to bring other people up.
Yeah.
When none of that, there should be some of it, right? You should try to help people. However, if it's becoming a situation where that person is not helping themselves, you are now putting everybody else in a lower standard.
Yeah. 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 So here's the analogy I like to think about. You know, I love my fucking analogies. You ever helped anybody move?
Yeah.
You ever got to their place and everything's packed for the most part? The truck's already there that y'all gonna load it on and all that. How bad of a day is it?
It's easy.
Yeah. You ever got somebody's house help them move and they have shit packed?
Yep.
Fuck that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you literally have like if there's a reason behind it, right?
Right.
Like you have a fucking handicap and I'm coming there to help you pack
Yeah.
stuff. No, I got called to help ask you move.
Yeah.
And I get there and shit's not packed.
You have nothing done.
I hate you from the moment I walk in the door.
Yep.
I don't care if you're my blood. I fucking hate you.
Yep.
And I'm just all I'm thinking about is how quick can I get the fuck out of here?
Mhm.
Because I do not want to. I want to choke you out right now.
Yeah.
Same thing where you don't have your shit just organized. Doesn't matter. It's all got to be put on the truck, and I got to help you do it. Make it organized for me. Get you help put it on the truck. You know.
Help yourself. Help me. Help you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and it's because I gave you my word. I would be here.
Yeah.
I'm here. You did not show up on your own equation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a shitty place to be.
And you saying that back to where you could have been for the past 2 years. You're right, because your top performers see you let off the gas.
Mm-hmm. And
I've been guilty of that. I've even been called out on that by some of my top performers. And you know what my go-to is? Which you're probably, in my mind, I feel truth in this.
Mm-hmm.
I expect more from you.
Yeah.
Which is true. But at the same time, they can look at me and go, I expect more from you.
Yep.
To have a team around me to deliver on the promises you said.
Yeah.
They could say that and I'd have to fucking pull a foot out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, you can't always rely on that. Like that.
You can't.
You shouldn't rely on that at all.
Yeah.
Right. You should hear them out and say, okay, here's how we're doing it. And you're right. Train's leaving the station. Who's on it with me?
Yep.
And that's scary to do, man. It's tough to do that.
And that's the piece. But there's the growth in that.
There is.
There is so much growth in that.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with guilt, false guilt.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with scariness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fear. But it also comes with achievement. It comes with growth of everyone around you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this can go, you can take this and piece this, whether it's in your personal life or your business life. You can take this and say, how is this person actually, are they the mover in the situation, or are they the person who does not pack their belongings and invites me over to come help them move?
Yeah,
boxes.
Pizza.
Right. Yeah. But that's the concept, right? Yeah. And so you've got to start figuring out who those people are, why they are in your situation, in your world, and then figure out if you need to help them or remove them and move the entire team forward.
Yeah.
So, dude, I guess there's a reason why they have like selection in all of these higher, you know, whether it be the Army, whether it be military, whether it be sports. There's a reason why there's a selection of the top athletes or the top performers.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. And they talk about that. Like they never complain about, what was that? They're talking about like the dropout rate for SEALs and how much it costs to train a SEAL. You know, you never hear them complain about, well, with the cost, we had too many dropout, right? Now it's the military, their cost and my costs are very different. But you know, it's back. I mean, it's still true. Like it's still there. And you're right. Like if you do, it's scary and it's tough. You gotta make those decisions. Well, maybe it'll hopefully teach you a fucking lesson. Yeah. You know? Yeah. The stuff like I've learned, I need to do my best to keep crazy out of my office. Crazy costs me time, it costs me a ton of energy, it costs me guilt. Some of it misplaced, but some of it well placed on me, you know? And it was somebody who was a decent performer, but they were a freaking nut job. Like a nut job. I didn't want them in my office anymore. I hated working around them. The rest of the crew hated working around them. And finally, when I grew a pair of balls and did something about it, they all stepped up. Yeah. So they were like, damn, he finally, yeah. And then, but it was painful. I had to go find somebody to retrain. That's tiresome. Yeah. But I learned a really valuable lesson from it. Stove's hot. Don't touch the motherfucker. Yep. You know what I mean? But that's interesting that you bring that up and how that is a benefiting factor when you move towards fear and you move towards hard things. You come out the other end
a little bruised, a little scraped up. However, you are in a better place because you have now conquered that aspect of what it is.
Yeah.
That's a whole other situation then.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's the thing. I mean, we say, how long have we done this? 35, 40 minutes? Splicing it out a million ways. But really, you take all that minutia we put in there, ton of good points, ton of useful information. Pick one thing, just use it. Pick one thing, play it out, see how it goes, or make it the most simplistic thing. Everything else will fall in line. But get the little stupid simple things right. How would you ever trust yourself with anything big, anything important, if you can't take the most simplistic things and do them right consistently? You're going to lose. People will beat you if you can't figure that out. You just got to take the little simple things, do them right every time, and continue to do them right, and build a standard around it. And then the bigger stuff will come. But the things that are huge now will become smaller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The goal is the things that are big in my life right now, these big stretches, these big bets, these things that are really tough, big decisions, they'll become standard decisions for me.
Right.
They'll become my little things. So do the little things now, Mike. Work towards those bigger things. Let them become smaller, you know?
And I'm going to say this and we can tie it up. When I got into the business, right, when I started hiring people, when I started doing things, I asked the people who were ahead of me certain questions or certain things or certain contracts for employees or agents. I asked for those things. I'm like, hey, what contract do you use when you hire an agent? And they would send it to me. And they would have certain standards inside of those contracts for each agent, for each person, whatever. I wouldn't hold people to those standards because I wasn't ready to hold people to those standards. I had not been in that situation.
Yeah.
I had not experienced the experience that they had.
Yeah.
And so I would receive it and it would just fall to the waistline. It would be a good idea, but I couldn't hold people to that standard because I wasn't ready to. And now I'm starting to understand that, yeah, you can copy and paste, but you also have to follow the rules inside of what you're giving other people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to do that as an owner, as a leader, as myself. I wasn't ready for that. Slowly but surely, you gain experience, you gain knowledge, you gain discipline through all of these things.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking back at those contracts and I'm like, if we would have just done that, if I would have held people to that, dude, miles ahead.
Yeah.
If I would have held myself to those standards at the time versus 5 years down the road, it would have multiplied by 10 times my business that I'm at now.
Yeah.
And now I'm also coming back around and reviewing again. And like, yeah, these are the standards because I can even increase these now because I do them myself and I should expect those around me to do the same.
Yeah.
So copy and paste is fine. It'll get you started, but understand that everything that you get from someone who is ahead of you, they have experience, and that's the reason why they're giving you that knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to look at that and say, can I hold myself accountable to this and the people around me? Because if you can't, edit it to where you are and then hold people to those standards.
Put your fingerprints on.
Right.
You need to. I think the thing is, though, just to add to that, I don't think you make that go away, though.
No.
But the goal is to shorten it.
Right.
Hey, I don't want it to take me 2 years to learn that lesson. I want it to take me 2 months.
Right.
I want it to be one time around it makes me learn it, not me 10 times around going, okay, enough's enough, right?
Yeah.
Don't make it the bottom.
Right.
Before you start looking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it's a cool piece, man. I'm happy of where you're at. I'm proud of where you are.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Shit.
But it's nice. But now I'm getting to this point that we just explained. Everything that we just went over, I'm now getting to that point of understanding that there are standards. Those standards have to be met. And I've got to now be that person who holds that line.
That's right.
Because any deviation from that line is a fault to myself. It's a fault to the people around me. And it's a fault to everyone else on the team. and in my personal life.
Yep.
Because I'm not performing, the people around me are not performing the way that they should. And that's not cool.
Mhm.
And now I take insult to that.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That the prior to all of this, the past 5 years, 10 years, I was not taking insult.
Yeah.
It
It
didn't
didn't disgust you.
It didn't
Yeah.
feel anything.
Yeah.
And now I cannot stand the thought of not holding the line.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different,
Yeah.
it's a whole different thing. So
Love it. It's good
yeah.
stuff.
Guys, don't forget to check out our sponsors, Jocko, Fuel, and Origin USA. And when you get there, put in the code GRIND10 and save yourself 10% off. James?
Grinder out.